Hello students. Now the topic we are going to discuss is shock. Now for the purpose of simplicity and easy understanding, the topic is covered in 3 parts, that is 3 videos. Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. First video, that is Part 1, deals with introduction to shock and the different types of shocks. Part 2, that is the second video, covers hypovolemic, cardiogenic and obstructive shock along with their therapy. Third video, that is the third part, cover all the 3 types of distributive shock, namely septic, anaphylactic and neurogenic shock along with their therapy. This is second video, that is shock part 2. Now this video deals with hypovolemic, cardiogenic, obstructive shock and their therapy. Now as we all know, shock is a state of circulatory collapse, that is failure of blood circulation. Now let's first talk about hypovolemic shock. Hypovolemic shock is commonly known as low volume shock. Hypovolemic shock is a life-threatening condition in which more than 20% of body's blood or fluid is lost. Thus, hypovolemic shock is characterized by inadequate blood volume, resulting in excessive fall in the cardiac output, poor tissue perfusion that results in ischemia, followed by death of tissues, that is necrosis, followed by organ failure, and which further progresses to multi-system organ failure. Now, etiology of hypovolemic shock, main causes of hypovolemic shock. There are 2 main causes, either there is loss of blood or there is loss of body fluids. Now, when we talk about loss of blood, in most of the cases it is because of the hemorrhage, hemorrhage due to trauma, that is accidents, postpartum hemorrhage, that is after delivery, hemorrhage after delivery. Then gastrointestinal bleeding, for example, because of peptic ulcer. Then non-hemorrhagic blood fluid loss, for example, due to burns, dehydration, vomiting, diarrhea, excessive urination, either due to diabetic ketoacidosis, that is diabetes mellitus, or because of diabetes insipidus. Now, features or symptoms of hypovolemic shock, there are many symptoms like for example, hypotension, that is fall in the blood pressure, weak rapid pulse, tachycardia, cold and clammy extremities, that is cold and sweaty skin, and oliguria, low volume of urine, dizziness and many others. Now diagnostic features which are responsible for the characterization of hypovolemic shock are the low blood volume. As we have already discussed, there is a reduction in the blood volume either because of loss of blood or because of loss of body fluids. And because of reduced blood volume, reduced blood is brought back to the right auricle by superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. That results in fall in the preload. And because of the fall in the preload, there is fall in the cardiac output. Fall in the cardiac output results in poor tissue perfusion. Now treatment of hypovolemic shock. First of all, supplement oxygen by the face mask, identify etiology and treat the underlying cause. Then apart from this, replace the lost body volume by about 2 to 4 liters of isotonic crystalloids. Isotonic crystalloids like normal saline, that is 0.9% sodium chloride, Ringer lactate, and blood is transfused if loss of blood is more than 30%. Next we talk about cardiogenic shock. Cardiogenic shock is characterized by cardiac dysfunction, that is dysfunctioning of cardiac muscles, which results in low contractility of heart, failure of heart to pump effectively, which results in fall in cardiac output, poor perfusion of tissues followed by ischemia, then necrosis or death of the tissues leading to organ failure, and which further progresses to multi-system organ failure, and if it is not treated in time, the shock can be fatal. Etiology, or the cause of cardiogenic shock. The main cause of cardiogenic shock is the damage to the cardiac muscles. Damage to the cardiac muscles is caused either because of myocarditis, that is inflammation of that is the inflammation of myocardium. It can be because of myocardial infarction, that is the death of myocardial tissue because of ischemia. Damage to the cardiac muscles can be because of arrhythmias, it can be because of congestive heart failure, it can be because of valvular heart disease, that is defect in the valve of heart, or it can be because of any other problem or the disease associated with the cardiovascular system. Now, clinical features or the symptoms of cardiogenic shock. The most important is the chest pain. The chest pain suggests that the shock is of cardiac origin, and because of low cardiac output, other symptom is the hypotension, that is fall in the blood pressure, weak rapid pulse, then symptoms like cold clammy extremities, and then tachycardia, dizziness, oliguria and all. Diagnostic, cardiogenic shock is diagnosed by the reduction in the cardiac output. Reduction in the cardiac output suggests that the shock can be because of malfunctioning of cardiac muscles, that is, it can be a cardiogenic shock. Now, talking about the treatment of cardiogenic shock, first of all, supplement oxygen by the face mask, then administer isotonic crystalloids, normal saline, that is 0.9% sodium chloride and Ringer lactate. Administer vasopressors. Now, these vasopressors, they show positive inotropic effect, that is, they increase the force of contraction of cardiac muscles. And when the heart muscles contract powerfully, when the cardiac muscles contract powerfully, there is increase in the cardiac output, and that improves the perfusion of tissues. Now, the vasopressors which are suggested to be administered are dobutamine, sympathomimetic like dobutamine, then norepinephrine, and another vasopressor is ambrinol, that is a phosphodiesterase inhibitor, and it increases the calcium influx, which is responsible for positive inotropic effect. And the most important of all the treatments is to identify the etiology, that is, identify the cause and treat the underlying cause. For example, if the cause is myocardial infarction, it can be treated by thrombolytics or by angioplasty. Antiarrhythmics are suggested for arrhythmia. Antianginals like sodium nitroprusside for the angina. Now, this slide talks about obstructive shock. Obstructive shock is characterized by obstruction of heart or its great vessels. That is, either there is compression of heart or there is compression of blood vessels like superior vena cava, inferior vena cava and aorta. Now, because of the compression of heart itself or because of the compression of these vessels, there is a problem related to the filling of ventricle, and there is problem related to the ejection of blood from the ventricles, and this reduces cardiac output, resulting into poor perfusion, ischemia, necrosis of tissue leading to organ failure followed by multi-system organ failure. So, the primary cause or the etiology of obstructive shock is the first cause is the pericardial tamponade. Now, as we all know, pericardium, it is a sac-like structure and it covers the heart, it envelopes the heart. Now, this pericardium, it encloses a cavity called as the pericardial cavity. Now, when excess fluid accumulates in the pericardial cavity, the heart is compressed, and that prevents filling and pumping of blood by the heart. So, there is impairment of diastolic filling of the right ventricle. That is, right ventricles are not properly filled during the diastole, during their relaxation. And since they are not completely filled, there is fall in the cardiac output, resulting in the poor perfusion. Second important cause is the tension pneumothorax. Now, as we all know, parietal pleura covers the lungs. Now, damage to the parietal pleura occurs, and air accumulates in the parietal cavity. And because of the accumulation of air, there is increased pressure in the pleural cavity, and lungs, they collapse and they shift towards the mediastinum. That is, the lungs, they shift towards the heart, and this results in the compression of superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So superior vena cava and inferior vena cava are the blood vessels which bring the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle. So there is obstruction of the venous return because of the tension pneumothorax, because of the compression of superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Another cause can be rise in the ventricular afterload, which is caused either because of massive pulmonary embolism or because of the aortic stenosis. Now let's first talk about the massive pulmonary embolism. Now there is a blockage by emboli, or we can say by a moving clot in the pulmonary artery, and pumping of the blood by the right ventricle into pulmonary artery is prevented because of the blockage in the artery, and therefore there is rise, therefore we say that there is a rise in the ventricular afterload. Now aortic stenosis. Aortic stenosis is the narrowing or the hardening of aorta. Again, pumping of blood by the left ventricle into aorta is prevented due to narrowing or hardening of aorta. And all these causes results in fall in cardiac output that further leads to low perfusion of the tissues or reduced perfusion of the tissues. Now, clinical features or the symptoms of obstructive shock are similar to the symptoms of cardiogenic shock or the symptoms of hypovolemic shock. Some of the symptoms are hypotension, tachycardia, weak rapid pulse, cold clammy extremities, dizziness, oliguria. Then diagnostic feature, fall in the cardiac output is one of the diagnostic feature of obstructive shock. Then coming to the treatment of obstructive shock, supplement oxygen by the face mask, administer isotonic crystalloids like normal saline and ringer lactate. Now use vasopressors. Vasopressors are the agents with positive inotropic effect. They increase force of contraction of cardiac muscles that increase the cardiac output, that improves the tissue perfusion. For example, norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is a vasopressor of choice. Apart from this, most important of all is to identify and treat the cause. Like for example, pulmonary embolism, that is emboli in the pulmonary artery. Now this emboli, it can be broken down by the use of thrombolytics. Then pericardial tamponade, characterized by excessive accumulation of fluid in the pericardial cavity. Now this can be treated by the removal of fluid from the pericardial cavity. Then tension pneumothorax, in which there is accumulation of air in the pleural cavity, which results in the collapse of lungs. So here tension pneumothorax can be managed by the use of needle followed by tube thoracotomy. So this is all about obstructive shock, and this is all about hypovolemic, cardiogenic and obstructive shock and their management. Now, if you find this session helpful, kindly like, subscribe and share this video. You can write your doubts in the comment section. I will surely answer all your doubts, and thanks for watching the video.